go. All right, for anyone watching on YouTube, uh, nothing's really happened yet. I was just explaining what we're about to get into. Um, I did go back to get the balloon achievement. When I was looking back at the tape, I discovered, oh, I accidentally hit one of the balloons with my melee weapon um, while while I was trying to kill the lying figure in that room. And because this achievement specifically states that you've got to shoot the balloons, I didn't get it. So I went back and got that. Went back and got the second of two notes, which I made a big deal out of the first note, and then I completely missed the second one, the strange note and the sinister note, which Cleo actually had some really cool commentary about that in her video, but for those who missed it, I'll bring that up really quickly. Um, what are we doing? Memos, Woodside. Yeah. So we had the strange note, which says, I know there's something here. I know. I can feel it. It all looks normal, but it's not. It's underneath, pulsing, trying to get out. Is it trying to get out, or should I get in? I have to uncover it. Rip it to the surface. Peel it off layer by layer, so I can see it. I know it's there. Hey, Amat. Yeah. And then this follow-up note, which I somehow forgot to pick up. I was wrong. No, I wasn't, but I wasn't entirely right. I need to peel off more. Something more. Blood close. I was looking outside, but it is in me. There's someone inside me. And yeah, that is pretty creepy. And Cleo actually made a connection to it perhaps being a foreshadowing of the Otherworld transition we're about to experience. The Otherworld kind of being the world beneath the world that we see. And I'll have a lot more to say about that soon. Zeus said, Mosaic Mind fun fact, Grapple was on the list of potential names for the band. Yes, indeed. Also, the other day, like, really quick thing, I'm not going to linger on it too long, but long story short, the phrase grapple shots somehow came up, and I'm like, that's a pretty dang good band name as well. We've got the breath in here. So, one last thing, the other strange photo I just picked up, Career's Humble Beginnings, and I just realized I didn't actually pick up the photo outside Woodside, so I think I'm going to abandon the photo quest for this playthrough, and that is one less thing that I have to worry about. I remember looking over there, but then when I was watching either, I think I was watching Cleo's video or someone else's video playing the opening section, and I was like, I think I remember going there and being like, wasn't it right over here? Nah, I don't see it, but I didn't turn to the right. It's like hidden behind some trash or something. But not a big deal. Just means that I don't have to waste as much time looking for photos because I'm not going to get that achievement. But yeah, a lot of the stuff in this apartment, like we were saying last time, we're pretty sure reflects the home that Mary and James lived in. We've also got this radio over here that I didn't realize is, I'm pretty sure this is the same radio that is playing the Magdalene theme once we get into Blue Creek. Okay, before we watch the Pyramid Head scene, and I want to read some stuff off because that is that is the height of exciting stream. But we watched the Pyramid Head scene last time. I didn't really talk about it because I knew I was going to talk about it more here. For anyone who hasn't played this game or watched this game, this scene is disturbing. It is more it's there's more left to the imagination in the remake version than in the original. Weirdly, um, uh, I think I understand why they went in that direction, but uh, again, I gave the content warnings at the beginning of the stream. There is imagery in this scene that, especially in the original game, seemed to evoke sexual assault of some sort. Pyramid Head is grappling with some monsters, and it is weird looking. Um, uh, and The reason I want to talk about this specifically is because for years people have just taken it as a given. People in the Silent Hill fandom have taken it as a given. It was like, oh well, yeah, of course it does, because there's all these sexual themes in the game, and there's also themes of sexual assault with certain characters' storylines. So yeah, like that's obviously what's going on in that scene. But Masahiro Ito, the creature designer, had his own things to say about it on Twitter several years ago, and it's come up a few times. And I am a strong believer in death of the author and that what's on the page is on the page. I also think it's useful to look at the intent behind things because they can often cast things in a different light. And particularly with what Masahiro Ito said, like there's one of the tweets that I was able to go back and find, um, where he says, "It's really okay that we have different opinions and its interpretation depends on the person. Uh, However, it doesn't make sense to me that like this interpretation that people have just spread like it's canon or something." Um, and I appreciate him saying that, where he's like, "Hey, like if this is the way you interpret the scene, that's fine, but people should stop assuming that it is what we intended." Or was exactly what we intended, or something like it, like it's, uh, yeah, like it's canon. So, uh, when it comes to Pyramid Head, and particularly in this scene, um, uh, Masahiro Ito had this to say about the inspiration for him. The background of Pyramid Head in Silent Hill 2 was inspired by this Lewis quote from Jacob's Ladder back then. Also, this is one of the most memorable scenes for me. And here's the quote. In the scene in Jacob's Ladder, which is a movie that heavily influenced this game and has a lot to do with people like the main character seeing things uh, that are horrifying and disturbing. It's where we got like the stop motion or like sped up jerky head movement that got copied in a lot of horror movies since then. But the main character Jacob is going through a very similar uh, kind of harrowing journey that James is going through, and there's a doctor. I think it's specifically like his chiropractor, maybe Lewis, who seems to be like a sole beacon of hope through all this. And as he's getting as Lewis is working on his back in one of the scenes, uh, Lewis asks him if he's ever read Eckhart, I think, or something like that. And because Jacob has just said, I feel like I've been in hell, or I've been seeing hell. And Lewis says, Eckhart saw hell too. He said, the only thing that burns in hell is the part of you that won't let go of life. Your memories, your attachments. They burn them all away. But they're not punishing you, he said. They're freeing your soul. So the way he sees it, if you're frightened of dying and you're holding on, you'll see devils tearing your life away. But if you've made your peace, then the devils are really angels, freeing you from the earth. It's just a matter of how you look at it, that's all. So don't worry, okay? Okay. Um, and it's really interesting to think about Pyramid Head specifically in this game in the context of that quote. This idea that like there's definitely a theme of punishment with Pyramid Head, and like the creators have even talked about this, how like James feels he needs to be punished for what he did to Mary, and that's part of where Pyramid Head comes from, this need to punish himself. But specifically in scenes like this, where you see Pyramid Head like attacking the other creatures, I think in another tweet, Masahiro Ito talks about how like Pyramid Head is like these other creatures these delusions that James runs into, they're all distractions from the truth that James needs to face. And so Pyramid Head is trying to remove those distractions, like literally tear them out of his mind, so that James can finally face the truth of what he's done and come to some sort of understanding. And in that context, it's very it definitely complicates things, and it feels almost like reductive to just reduce Pyramid Head to, oh well, he's this hyper masculine figure, and so there's like these sexual assault themes to him, and he's just all about punishment. Again, what's on the page is on the page, and I like Cleo and I have talked about this a lot, where whatever way you interpret the story, like if it feels like it resonates with you a certain way, or if it makes sense to you a certain way, and that is like a logical, valid interpretation, then who's to say that that's not the interpretation you go with? But I do like reading stuff like this. I never want to. I think I've talked about this before with behind the scenes stuff. I never feel like a work of art, you shouldn't need to seek out this stuff to understand a work of art, but I really like finding out that stuff because I like to know about process and intent and stuff, and I feel like it can deepen my understanding of whatever work of art that I'm experiencing. But again, that's the way that I consume art and media and stuff. It doesn't have to be the way that you do. But I don't see a lot of people talking about this specific interpretation of Pyramid Head that came directly from the creature designer in a lot of videos and playthroughs and stuff. So I wanted to highlight that here before we watch the scene, so now you can kind of look at it that way. And because we watched it last time, I might even talk a little bit more over the scene. There's also no dialogue in the scene, so what's to stop me? But yeah, already 15 minutes in and I've had a diversion. And Cleo's like, you've heard of biblically accurate angels? Well, get ready for Pyramid Head. Alright, let's get into it. Also, the thing that triggers this scene is the handkerchief. Supposedly, it doesn't actually like have any mechanical effect on the game. Like, a lot of people theorized, oh, maybe it pushes you towards one of the endings, and supposedly people have gone into the like source code and, or not source code and stuff, but gone into the programming and seen like it's not tied to anything, supposedly. So I would love to see what Bloober Team had to say about it. Maybe it was just a way for them to have a trigger point for the scene, so that it didn't just happen like the moment you entered or like you wandered into a certain area. But I'd be interested to see what their intent was behind it. But yeah, we've got this little handkerchief here. Blue Velvet reference here. Nobody knows what the fuck he's doing there. I think people have asked Ito, and he's like, what do you think? I love this shot of him outside the closet. There's something about the lighting right here, he's so grounded in the world. And I think that's part of what makes him so disturbing, is like he is a larger than life character, but because of the lighting, the rust, all this stuff that just puts him in like. And so in this context with James shooting him, I like to think Pyramid Head is like, dude, what the fuck? I'm trying to help you. Why do you shoot? Okay, now it's on. Like, I was trying to help you, but if you're gonna be that way, come meet me at the boss battle 2 hours from now. But yeah, there's something about him and his design being in such a mundane environment, just like this apartment, that is, it's set up so well. And in that way, I feel like this scene is even more effective than the original in certain ways. So yeah, that's Pyramid Head. Gonna take some water. And then we're gonna go through this really cool looking door. After we pick up the handkerchief. Looks like there may be some old blood stains on it or something. I think some people have even said it might have been like a wedding handkerchief. What does it say in the description? A stained handkerchief. It feels very familiar. Yeah, obviously. Okay. Let's go through the door and enter the Otherworld. And perhaps in another world, Pyramid Head wasn't as understanding when James shot him, and was a little more aggressive. Oh, Cleo, that is such a cool detail to point out. Cleo just pointed out. I finally noticed that the camera angle is tilted like the grid on the door itself. Yeah, that like tilted grid thing is such an interesting choice. And then, oh man, I didn't even catch that with the camera angle. I'm gonna really quick bring up my notes to double check a couple things. Okay. Yeah, let's have this up. Why is that grid tilted? I haven't ever seen why. I mean, part of it I think is just because it feels off. Oops, hold on. Okay. I actually, here's a funny thing. One of the things it made me think of was, many of you may recall PT, the short-lived playable teaser for Kojima and Guillermo del Toro and Norman Reedus' Silent Hills game that was ultimately canceled by Konami. At some point, another video related to that project was leaked. I think it was Kojima's like initial kind of proof of concept, and it was really cool. It was using the Fox engine, and it was very realistic and everything. And there is a little part of it where it's essentially just a first-person perspective, but you're walking down a hallway and weird shit is happening. But one of the coolest things that happens in that video is you see like a door in a doorway, like shaking and stuff, and then it suddenly swings over to the other, like the door itself comes off of the wall and slams into the other wall and creates a new doorway. but the door is tilted, and then the door kind of like falls open on its hinge, and you walk down like a really deep stairwell. And one, that was so friggin' cool. Um, but yeah, that is what that tilted grid there kind of reminds me of. That tilted doorway. Another example of like, this just looks off. This isn't the way things are supposed to work. What the hell is happening? Um, or like, how does it relate to the 9 delusions? Yeah. But yeah, we see that red door in the future. I think we go back to that same apartment, actually, I think in the ruined area of the labyrinth. But yeah, so we are now in the Otherworld. And this version of the Otherworld is very reminiscent of the Otherworld from Silent Hill 1 and from the movie, which some people have criticized the remake for, because a lot of people associate this particular style of the Otherworld with Alessa, the character from the first game that is kind of the reason the town functions the way that it does. That's a long story that we do not have time to get into tonight. But I personally really like this aesthetic, and I kind of, for better or for worse, I kind of feel like it is a little bit of like a staple or like the default Otherworld, and I actually like that about that. Like, people have talked about like, oh, but it, like the rust and metal and stuff gets really old after a time, and one, it's a cool aesthetic. It's one of the ones where like you see something like that and people immediately think like, oh, that looks kind of like Silent Hill. Two, color wise, I feel like I saw someone talk about this where like the red and the orange, and like there are a bunch of different colors you could use for the Otherworld, but like the rust color definitely feels oppressive and aggressive in a way where like if they experimented with like a snowy Otherworld in Shattered Memories, which was really cool, and they've experimented with other types of Otherworlds in other games. But just on a color balance level, there is something about this color palette that immediately just makes you feel like, ugh. And I think that's worth thinking about. Also, my first time playing the remake and entering the Otherworld, I was just like, oh, everything up until now is like creepy and dark and uncomfortable. You come into the Otherworld and it's like, oh, I didn't know it could get this bad. This is worse. This is awful in all of the right ways. And then it gets worse. Another thing I really appreciate about this section of the game is the way that this is already so deteriorated, and then as you progress through it with puzzles and stuff, it just gets more and more deteriorated. Oh, don't you... Nope! Tried to get me while my guard was down. Oh! Come on. Man, the sounds are just awful. Oh, come on. I may be breaking out the chainsaw for this one because I only have so much time to do this stuff. And I do want to get through all of Blue Creek. In fact, yeah, I'm going to break out the chainsaw. Let's do it. We're in the Otherworld. It calls for it. Here we go. Chainsaw is a one-hit KO, and you only can get it in New Game Plus. And while it does, in my opinion, disrupt the atmosphere sometimes, it can also be really fun. And we may even see a few fun animations if I leave James alone for a moment. But some of those animations can also disrupt your ability to swing the chainsaw in vital moments, so that can be annoying. Uh, but yeah, so the rust and metal Otherworld, like I think you can apply that to a lot of character situations. I kind of feel like it's first of all, thank you, I'm not a mimic, for the Prime subscription again. Um, I think it works as a good starting area, especially for a game like this, or for any of the Silent Hill games. Because if it is kind of like the default, maybe it's like, oh, Silent Hill's still like figuring out what your deal is, and it's going to get more specific over the course of the game. Uh, and I like Silent Hill Shattered Memories actually was really cool when it came to that because at the beginning of the game the creatures are very nondescript and then they change based on choices that you make and things you pay attention to throughout the game. Um, and so I like the idea of like, oh, as James progresses through the game, his otherworld becomes more specific to him as the town learns more about him and gets deeper into his psyche. But here we have our next major puzzle. We've got the poem for it here. Henry fears Scott. He'll run from him and hide. He's fled to the west, to the other side. But here comes Mildred with unknown intent. Scott lies face down, blind to her descent. And Henry, Scott, and Mildred. Henry, Mildred, and Scott, hour, minute, and second hand. We've got a clue to it over here. And then underneath this fancy cloth, we have the clock puzzle. I do still want to try and get the glimpses of the past, so let me double check what glimpses of the past are in this area. We've got one, as soon as you jump down the hole into apartment 110, there will be a broken TV stand in front of you as you leave the room, and then the stairwell right before the Pyramid Head battle. I remember that one. Okay, cool. I think I'm still on track for that. No, I can't do anything here. Okay, so we need to find the hands to this clock. Let me see. Let's overwrite this one, because that's the oldest one. Also, cool little detail someone on Reddit discovered. If you look out through this window, oh man, is it this window? One of the windows, I think it's supposed to be this one, you will see a woman's silhouette standing in it, if you look at the right one at the right time, but I'm not seeing it here, so maybe it's a different one. Did I explore everything in this room? Yes, okay. So here's the thing about the Otherworld. In some ways, it's meant to be like more scary. Yep, I hear you banging on the door there. This is gonna be the hour door we go through later. And in some ways, it's supposed to be more disorienting. But at least in this game, in certain ways, it's a little bit more straightforward because it's operating on dream logic, but because it doesn't have to emulate a real space like the regular Woodside apartments did, it can kind of just do what it wants, and you can justify having more like clues and stuff for different parts of puzzles and pointing you in certain directions. Johnny Sims and Alex Newell talked about this a little bit. Oh fuck, there's that little jump scare. Give me back my... Oh, and there's this Texas Chainsaw Massacre! In the dark, so I probably didn't see it very well. But, yeah, on the Magnus Archives, one of the Q&As, they talked about how, like, it's harder to soundscape for an audio drama podcast like theirs. It's harder to soundscape for real settings than it is for like horror fantasy settings, because everyone knows what like a regular office is supposed to sound like. You don't think about it, but if something didn't sound right, you would notice it right away. Whereas with the hellscapes that they created in some of the Magnus Archive episodes, those they are kind of free to create whatever way they want. Like there may be some certain touchstones that they need to hit, but they kind of have free reign to do what they want with it, because no one's ever been in a area that is just a giant merry-go-round with strange, horrific creatures in it, or a I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. An area that's just like the buried isn't. I don't know. It's been a while since I've listened to those. Oh my gosh, we've got Gateway Plaza on the stream as I'm getting attacked by one of Alessa's creeper beetles. Yeah, and that's the other thing, is like they had the creeper beetles in the original Silent Hill 2 as a reference to the first Silent Hill game. So I think you can give them a pass on using the Otherworld. The other thing I was thinking about on a practical level is if they do plan on making the other remakes, it's nice to know that they can do the more traditional Otherworld setting. Oh, and here's something that Cleo pointed out that I didn't even catch when I was played the game first. Okay, yeah, I know. And dodge out of the way. And we're walking, and to your right you will see the Otherworld version of a lying figure, which explodes upon death, which is why I've been dodging out of the way. And they just look gnarlier. All the creatures in this game, all the like common creatures, have alternate versions of the Otherworld that are a little bit nastier in different ways. But yeah, over here there are a few references to Stephen King's things. Got this monkey, a reference to the short story The Monkey that just was adapted into a movie by the guy who did Longlegs, I believe. And then we've got like a little kid's bike here, like Danny from The Shining. And this brings me to one of the questions that Cleo actually had about this game, which was she had read that Carrie was an influence on Silent Hill, and specifically Silent Hill 1, and she asked, like, did that have to do with Alessa? And yes, in the original Silent Hill, Alessa Gillespie, the little girl that you discover while searching for your daughter Cheryl in the town of Silent Hill, as Harry Mason, Alessa there are a lot of parallels between Alessa and Cheryl, or Alessa and Carrie from the Stephen King novel Carrie. One of them being that Alessa has like psionic powers of some sort. They didn't adapt that detail into the movie specifically, but it's there in the original game. And there's a really weird scene where Dahlia, her mother, is like, "Can't I just have a teensy bit of your power?" I think the line is like, it uses those words, "teensy bit of your power," and it's like, okay, dialogue, interesting. Verisimilitude. I still need to play the original Silent Hill, but like I said, I have a capture card and I have a copy of it, so I'm hoping that I can play it on stream one of these days. And maybe do like a Saturday stream or something, because it's not a long game. It was for the original PlayStation. Okay, looking at the windows again. I fucking love the lighting in this area. Like, just the bright light coming from up there and then just everything disappearing into darkness. It's so moody and like creepy and beautiful. Okay, I think this might be apartment 110 coming up. I have a map, I can check. No, 110 is on the first floor. That's right, it was dropping into 110. Okay. So, here's the Earth. We got a little autosave there. Okay, I know that there are creatures in here. I want to get to this room. I don't think Cleo was able to get to it in her playthrough, but I know that there is a way to get in there. Or it might not be this one. It might be on another floor. There's a similar setup with these armchairs. Well, no, that is the one I need to get into because there's ammo to get in there. Oh, this was another thing I wanted to talk about with Pyramid Head. In this area of the game, you start to see a lot more like dead bodies just lying around, and part of it is just classic horror game. Oh, these are going to get up at some point and attack me. Great. On an environmental storytelling level, I like to think it's like, oh, all these creatures are dead, and some of them don't even get up, but all of them are dead because Pyramid Head just passed through here, and he's trying to get rid of these visions. And we've got another one of you. You know what? Yeah, let's just shoot you here. Okay. Which way do we want to go? Why is it saying I can't go through there? It's very open. Okay. I think we're going to go here first. Okay, that's locked. I think Cleo went that way first, so I'm going to go the other way because it does loop around. Oh, is this the way to get to it? Yeah. It's just back here. Oh, don't you dare! Okay. I knew it was still going. Damn it. Okay. Red chairs. What the fuck is going on here? We've got a wheelchair. We've got 3 red chairs. I don't know if you had any thoughts on this, Cleo, but this is such a weird setup. Wheelchairs were another thing associated with Alessa in both Silent Hill 1 and Silent Hill 3 because how much of this stuff do I want to get into? Alessa Gillespie was a girl in Silent Hill that she apparently had some powers, and all the kids thought that she was a witch. Her mom, who is head of the cult in one of the leaders in the cult in Silent Hill, was like, oh, my daughter has been chosen by our cult's god to be a vessel for the birth of God, so I'm going to raise her to be that. And so she makes Alessa part of this ritual to birth the cult's god, and there are a lot of varying interpretations on what actually happened during that ritual, but my favorite one is that like there was already fire involved in the ritual, but there's fire involved in the ritual, and like I think initially it comes off as like, oh, there was an accident during the ritual, it went wrong, and that's why Alessa got burned. And then other things seem to imply that maybe Alessa actually used her powers to cause the fire because she wanted to disrupt the ritual. So, ritual goes wrong, she gets burned horribly but survives and is taken to the hospital. And so a lot of the imagery for the original game for Silent Hill 3, which is a direct sequel to the original game, a lot of the imagery having to do with Alessa is hospital related, and wheelchairs go back to that. So, I see Cleo is talking about the chairs, so I'm going to go back to that now. I just wanted to finish the story about Alessa before I disrupted it. So, Cleo says, I think the 3 chairs are James, Eddie, and Angela. Pyramid Head, punishment red. Wheelchair could represent whichever person they've each wronged. And they're all lined up there like for a meeting or reckoning of some sort. So of course I didn't manage to get there on my playthrough. I'm trying to remember... First of all, I think that's a great interpretation and is perfect for this game. As with a lot of the stuff in this game, I think there are multiple valid interpretations. In the context of the Alessa stuff, I'm wondering... I'm trying to remember... because there were a few people associated with that ritual, like a few leaders of the cult, and I think there are 2 that are named and 1 that is not named. Because there's a scene in the original. I really need to play the original. There's a scene in the original after Alessa is burned where Dahlia, uh, Michael Kaufman, and I think one or two other people are standing around Alessa's bed, and they're talking about how like we need to cast a spell to reunite Alessa with her other half or whatever that she sent away from town, aka Cheryl. Lots of spoilers for the original game I'm giving right now. And so I'm wondering if this also doubles as another thing referencing Alessa, where Alessa is the one in the wheelchair, and the three chairs are meant to represent Dr. Kaufman, who is another member of the cult and her doctor at the hospital, Dahlia, her mother, and then another member of the cult. So many cool details in this game. Okay, 304. Did we just get the key for that? No, 304 is the 306. Okay, 304 we're going to be going in through... How do we get in there? Oh, probably through 306. We're going this way now. I gotta pick up the pace if I'm going to make it to all the stuff that I hope to. Okay. So this is the other direction from where that breakable wall in the kitchen was. Oh yeah, and there's the... I think I got all this stuff in here. Amat says, what especially freaks me out here is the bandages over the sheet that almost give an impression of a straitjacket. Yeah, so that straitjacket imagery. Straitjacket fashion. Chevelle, anyone? The straitjacket stuff is interesting because that was actually another thing I saw while looking through Masahiro Ito's tweets yesterday, I think it was, where for him, like he tried out something akin to straitjacket imagery for the lying figure in one of the like concept designs, but I'm trying to remember what specifically he said about like the final design. If it was mostly just supposed to look like someone being like suffocated, which obvious imagery there, what that relates to. And here we are with the radio and the Magdalene theme playing again. One of the things I want to bring up here in the context of our conversation last time about diatonic versus non-diatonic chords and stuff. Two things actually. One, this was the like first piece of music I remember them releasing when they released the first trailer for the remake, and I was like, oh, they have an extended version of Magdalene, it's gorgeous, yes! So that's one thing I wanted to bring up that I don't remember if I brought up the first time. The other thing I wanted to bring up was in the context of our conversation last time about diatonic and non-diatonic chords and notes, the additions to this piece and the like part that it doesn't play from the original Magdalene theme, all of it is very diatonic. All of it is very consonant and part of the scale that is being used in the song. And I want to bring that up now so that when we hear it again later, I can talk about it in terms of the things that are now different when we hear it later. And then I think, Cleo, you had a question about like the way that it sounds so like radio-y. I can't remember exactly what it was. One of the things I wanted to bring up in here is a lot of people have taken this like this mini puzzle of like the door being chained up as a reference to Silent Hill 4. One of the major images from that, and like one of the first things you see in the game, is a door that is all chained up, and it has the note "Don't go out, Walter" on it. Yeah. Okay. noticed whether how the radio music sounds. Okay. Said like from the bottom of a well about something else. It's a bit like that too. Yeah. So, oh yeah, like the piano in Ordinary Vanity, the music that plays when we first meet Eddie, that definitely feels like it's coming from the bottom of the well, and a lot of that has to do with reverb. Reverb is something used in music production to give something a sense of like space and depth. If you've got left and right, reverb kind of controls close and far. You throw a lot of reverb on something, I'm being very reductive right now, but generally if you throw a lot of reverb on something, it feels further away, whereas if it's got very little reverb on it, it sounds very close and immediate and present. And then, yeah, the distorted sound, the distorted quality, I think it's another way to talk about the idea of having like treated piano, which I brought up in reference to, it might have been this specific theme earlier. Yes, that's what it was. Distance, memory, nostalgia, Cleo. Thank you for jogging my memory. When we hear this theme on the jukebox, it feels very undistorted. Now we're hearing it distorted. We are developing the theme not on a compositional level, because this is literally all the same notes that we heard on the jukebox, but is now distorted. It's like, oh, something has happened to this memory that is obscuring it or distorting it in a way, and it could be a reference to James's mental state with his amnesia, or it could be that his journey is becoming more complicated because he's wandering through this other world. But yeah, also it's just like a very cool aesthetic, and it was a nice way to give this little mini puzzle a lot of like metaphorical weight. And what does it mean when we have to drop the radio to get the next piece of the puzzle and destroy the theme? And yeah, we're trapped in here now. You're gonna get up, I know that. And now we've got a different piece of music playing with some weird vocalizations and humming, if I remember correctly. There are a lot of mirrors. This was one of the things that I noticed while watching your video, Cleo, is like there's a lot of mirror imagery in Blue Creek. Like there's the big mirror in the room with Angela, but there's also the mirrors in this room, and then there's another room where like the mirrors explode once you complete part of the puzzle. Oh, Andy, Lag Time Podcast, welcome. Cannot wait to do a deep dive on the differences between the first soundtrack and this one. Yes, for those, I don't think I mentioned this on stream actually. I might have just talked about it in my email chain with Cleo, but there are a lot of things that I would love to talk about when it comes to this game on a technical level, on the production side. I am not as well versed in that stuff. Like, my little spiel on reverb is okay, but one of the people who knows a lot more about that stuff is my very good friend Andy, who's Lag Time Podcast in the chat. Say hi to Andy, everyone. I have known him from first grade. I have known him since first grade. He is one of my best friends, and he also was the sound engineer for several of my albums, for which I am very grateful. But I'm hoping that on a stream in the future, we can have him on to talk about the production side of things much more intelligently than I could. And the chainsaw just makes such quick work of these guys. I really appreciate it. Sorry, I thought I saw another dude coming out from behind something. And there's those chairs again. What do we got over here? Have I been in here? No. I'm probably gonna miss something. Where are we? Okay. Okay, so this is where we were before. And now I want to go this way. Why? Oh, this is We dropped into here from before. That's right. That was where the autosave was. Okay. So now... oh, do I still need to grab the... No, wait. I just picked up a key. 306. That's where we're going to grab the thing for the thing and the other thing. Yep, now I remember. It's all clear to me now. And I'm not going to deal with this ambush. I'm not going to do it. Wouldn't be prudent at this juncture. And we've got more creatures. But this one's a regular one, so I don't have to worry about it exploding at least. Okay. Oh, jeez. Get off. Okay. I guess I gotta deal with you. Okay. Anyone else want to get some? Clock ticking in the background. I imagine that was to be like, hey, you're wasting time killing things. It was specifically for you, Ian. This has become your Silent Hill, your Otherworld. Okay. I hear something else. Oh yeah. All those creatures out in the hall are like, hey, you're supposed to come kill us. Well, fuck you. I don't have time for this. Oh, I have the chainsaw. I guess I kind of have time for it. Anyone else out here? No? Okay. Okay. We're on our way. Should be another valve that I turn and then break the handle off of so that I can use it for the last one in the room. This is just awful. Like, this is the thing, is Silent Hill doesn't have a whole ton of, like, in-your-face gory moments the way that Resident Evil does, but the ones it does have are just disturbing. Like, that's not great. Yeah, you're gonna get up, I know that. Okay, here's another room with a bunch of... Yes, we know. Yes, you're there. Look, we just don't have the time. I'm sorry. I gotta talk about Angela and Promise Reprise and how it changed my life. But yeah, now we're in a room that has tons of mirrors. What the fuck is that for? Hey Zeus, can you take care of that, first time chatter? I think I gave you mod capabilities a while ago. If you're still in the chat. If not, I can take care of it. Yeah, maybe I'll just take care of it. How do I forget how to... Hold on. No, this isn't what I wanted at all. Okay. X. Why aren't you letting me do the thing? I can see the ban button, but... Ban. There we go. Okay. Man. Again, best laid plans. How do I get back to regular view? I don't want to be in mod view anymore. The time waste monster in my Silent Hill. How do I get back? Just hit back button. Okay, yes, we're back. Okay. And we're back. Okay. Amat says, so many mirrors and also so much cage imagery, all of the walls disintegrating down to a metal mesh underlayer. Seeing and not seeing, but not being able to reach. It feels significant. Yeah. Um, uh, this is the other thing that a lot of people are contentious about is like, they're like, oh, well, specifically when Silent Hill Homecoming came out, people were like, oh, Homecoming aped a lot of stuff from the movie, and we don't like the movie, so we don't like Homecoming. Now there are other reasons to dislike Homecoming. I have very mixed feelings about it. There are a lot of things I like, and other things I'm just frustrated by. But again, when it comes to stuff it aped from the movie, the Otherworld transition in the movie is really cool. At least I think so. And one of the things about it that I like about it is it gives you this impression of, yeah, something being revealed as the like paint peels away and the layers peel away. I always got the impression that like the way that the Otherworld transition happens in the movie is you literally see like the paint and stuff of the foggy world rip off the walls and float into the air and reveal like the metal and grime underneath. And one of the ways I interpreted that was, oh, what if the Otherworld is in some ways the real Silent Hill and the foggy world is the illusion? And in a game like this, I think that's particularly useful to think about because it seems like the Otherworld is in a lot of ways the place where you discover truths. And so, yeah, peeling back the facade of like, oh, everything's normal, and showing the grimy truth underneath, that feels right to me. Oh, this was the other thing I wanted to bring up really quick. Another thing that's useful about puzzles, particularly in the Otherworld, is they really use environmental details to help you figure out where you need to go next in a lot of places. Like if you're like, okay, I did that thing, where do I go now? Just follow the chains. Follow that chain, it'll lead us right back to the door that we need to get through in the radio room. Did it do everything here? Or can we go back to the radio now? I think we can go back to the radio now, but really quick, want to check. It's already in here, right? Yep, that's where the wheelchair was. Yeah, they use the chains here too. And it's a very logical way to, one, give some... Oh, here's more of that ambush I was talking about earlier. Okay. Okay. Y'all need to stop. There's one more over here. Yeah. I just wanted to take a moment. Like, that lighting in the distance just really caught me right now. I love the lighting in this game. Okay. You're dead. And I am hurting bad, so I'm going to take some health drinks. Going back to the radio room. We got that valve, so we're going to use that here. I want to try to get to Angela by 8:30, because I think that'll mean we're making good time. Okay. And now the radio is broken, and we have the hour hand. Is it here? Yeah. You know what? I wonder if it is like the first time you see that window, and first time we saw the window, I was still talking and like doing commentary stuff. So I was like, oh, I'll wait to show that off. But it might have triggered the silhouette in the window, and then when we looked at it again, it disappeared, which is unfortunate, but such is life. Okay, that leads us back to H, and back to the clock. Yeah, that window, that lit up window is over there. And it's no longer lit up. Okay. our hand. It's Henry. He's running that way. And now we're gonna save. And go to the our room. Yeah. We missed. So this is one of those areas where, well, actually, I think the clock room, too, is affected by the puzzle progression. Yeah. Room's looking a little more fucked up than it did before. More peeling, and that's just going to continue. And that's going to happen in here, too, as we solve another mini puzzle. Look at how normal this room looks. We've got the bird puzzle over here. We've got a locked door. We've got some places set. Oh, look at how nice it looks. And I'm gonna just tear through the glass. There's nothing there. Got some shit. Is there stuff in the fridge? Is this door locked? Yes. Okay. Oh, and we've got the toilet. So next thing that Cleo asked me about, like, what's the deal with the toilet? Like, what was there a deal? Like, I think you knew that like the toilet was in the original, but like, what is it with like the hands and stuff? And then we found that article from Bloober Team where basically there are a couple of things lovingly kept from the original game, which is one of them is this, where there's just a grimy toilet that you have to stick your hand in to find a key. Or it might be the minute hand in the original game too. But yeah, in the original game, there's like this, and then there's the hole in the wall of the moth butterfly room we'll be going to later. And it's disgusting. But Bloober Team decided to look at that. Oh, and look at that. Our way back is barred, literally. Yeah, Bloober Team just extrapolated that into, hey, what if we just keep putting stuff in front of James, like just nasty stuff James needs to stick his hand into. That's just going to be a motif for this game. And as we can see now, apartment's not looking as good as it did just moments ago. And we've got a creature coming through the door. Nope, no time. Give this man a pair of rubber gloves. Gross. I've got our pigeon. Burn everything he is wearing. Yeah, honestly. We don't have the key for that door yet, do we? Unless I missed it. I hope I didn't miss it. I think we probably get it from elsewhere, because yeah, that'll drop us down to the first floor. Okay. The world just changed, so things are going to be different now for all of us, and we're just going to have to get used to it. So now we can go through that door that was locked before, and we can go through this door. And, okay, cool. It's 8:15, and we got to the apartment with Angela in it. And the creepy whisper in it, which I think I remember reading somewhere that it wasn't even supposed to be in the original game, or was like an accident that it ended up being in the original game. But since it creeped everyone out, they're like, okay, I guess we'll keep it for the new game too, for the remake. But yeah, so we are about to watch a cutscene with Angela, and there are a bunch of things I want to talk about before we get in there, because there are also a bunch of things that I want to talk about once we get in there. Is this Angela's room? This isn't Angela's room, is it? No, this isn't Angela's room yet. I just saw the red walls, and I was like, oh, wait. No, Angela's room, this door would be barred. Or, yeah, this is a completely different area. We're not there yet. Okay, but we're almost there. Another bed with body stain. There are a lot of those in this game, and I assume they're all meant to be references to Mary, dead in her bed. I'm going like so stream of consciousness with this right now. I'm just like, we don't have time. I'm just gonna go. We get this little creepy moment where it's like, oh no, there's something behind the curtain. Everyone's fear, and like, oh no, it's actually a regular mannequin that isn't going to come to life. And we've got the malformed figurine part. And we still need to find the other part of that figurine, and there's another creature. Get out of here. Okay. So I think we got everything in here. Where to next? Got some ammo. Oh, I'm so glad I decided to use the chainsaw. Please, frame rate, don't do this to me. Okay. Yeah, keep going this way. There's more stuff to explore. Walls to destroy. Did I go check out this stuff yet? Fucking frame rate. Ah! This may be another case of... Oh, yep, we've got the swan head hung. And we've got our Texas Chainsaw James animation. Okay. Nope. Not even once. Oh! Another one! Thought you could be all coy standing there. Okay. So wait. Where is the thing? Casting the shot. There it is. Okay. Come on, game. Catch up. We've got the wooden swan head. Now we've got all the things we need for that bird puzzle we saw before. Okay, thank you. My word. Okay. Got bullets. Okay. Oh, come on, James. Okay. Yeah, so now we can go back to 210, do the bird puzzle. Then we're gonna... I think that gives us the key to the door in that room, so we'll drop down to 110. There's gonna be a glimpse of the past in there. And, man, this room has certainly seen better days. Okay. Bird puzzle. I need to combine the bird stuff first. Yeah, these people do keep a lot of loose bullets around in their kitchens. Combine with malformed figurine. So, Cleo's interpretation of this was... I think, Cleo, your initial interpretation was like, oh, part of this is Mary and part of this is James. Like, the swan head is James and the malformed part is Mary because of her sickness. I initially took this to be like, oh, the pigeon is James and then this figurine is Mary and her sickness. Another thing I started thinking about was, like, maybe this is foreshadowing Mary and Maria. And I'm also trying to think about the symbolic weight of, like, okay, if the pigeon is James, we just put Mary / Maria on the other side, and that is so much heavier. Like, that feels like it carries emotional weight. And we gotta move them closer together to balance things out. It's almost the opposite of the coin puzzle where the woman was running away from the man, now the woman is running back to James. Maybe that's supposed to represent, like, oh, we're getting closer to Mary or Maria. Maria is approaching. A new challenger approaches. And it gives us the winged key. And everything is just look. This is the thing that I love about this version of the Otherworld in the remake is, like I said, you get into the Otherworld in the first place and it's like, oh, this is bad, and they somehow keep finding ways to make it worse and worse, and that to me is an achievement, and also disgusting. Okay, there is a glimpse of the past somewhere in this room. There's a TV thing, I think. Yes, it got worse, TM. Oh, here it is. So yeah, it's not a TV thing. This is the old coin puzzle, um, which was elsewhere in the original game. Okay, we're on the ground floor. We've got another branching pathways that loop around each other. I should check that door. Okay, the door is locked. We've got water dripping into this room. This specific jump also reminded me of one of the areas in Silent Hill 3 where Heather has to make a similar jump down through a hole. Early in the game, I think in the office building. Okay, and we've got that sweet, sweet lighting. I want to go. Yeah, I want to go towards that lighting first because that leads to a dead end. Just the color palette, it's too fucking good. It really is that sort of like beautiful but creepy but disturbing but elegant. Okay, now we are in Angela's room. Okay, and yeah, this one, it has the action button on the door to indicate, hey, don't go into this room until you're ready. But yeah, so we are about to hear one of my favorite pieces from the entire Silent Hill series. There's a lot to talk about in this room and how it relates to Angela. Because of where we are at time. Oh, we got in before 8:30. This is what I was hoping for. But yeah, Cleo gets into a bit more depth with the imagery in this room and how it relates to Angela. Like, we've got the two places set here, and one of the plates is broken. I can't remember. Did you talk about this painting, Cleo, in your video? We've got the TV with the alcohol on the top of it. Angela's father was an alcoholic. We've got a teddy bear. I'm glad that they didn't use Robbie the Rabbit in this game because I think that is very much associated with Silent Hill 3 and 4. Even though they could have totally used Robbie. Well, unless we want to say that Robbie was like a mascot that the amusement park used later, like in the 90s, and this game takes place in the 80s. Oh, you found it on Reddit. A deer. Okay. And then, yeah, we've got definitely some sort of religious painting here. I want to say it's classical era, either like classical or romantic period, because it doesn't have like the strong dark light contrast of the Baroque period. But it is kind of split in two, so maybe like classical era was mostly like basing things around threes. This is more based around two, so maybe it is Baroque era. Anyway, Angela. This room is boarded up. I want to say that's either her dad's room or her brother's room. Like, I think that's one of the theories that people have had is like, oh, this is supposed to be, even though this may not literally be Angela's apartment, if there are things symbolic of it, this might be boarded up because it was a place where Angela experienced a lot of trauma. I'm going to switch over to the music overlay to talk about Promise Reprise, or Promise of the Forgotten. Let me bring up my piano. Okay. Can everyone hear the piano? So, I talked before, several videos ago, about how Promise Reprise, the piece of music that we're about to hear, uh, seems to be a combination of two themes. We've got the Promise theme, which we heard during the letter reading at the beginning of the game. And I talked about one of the progressions a bunch, but didn't really talk about the second progression as much as I would have liked. But for that, we've got the like verse of Promise, which is the and then we have the chorus chord progression for it, which is and that's all in A minor in the version that we hear during the letter reading. In Promise Reprise, which I believe it's pronounced reprise. That's what I've looked up, seen every time I looked it up. But I also feel like it makes me sound pretentious. Like if you want to pronounce it reprise, that's fine. I'm not going to judge you. But yeah, in Promise Reprise, which we're about to hear, all of that gets transposed down to G minor, and we hear it as. So that's the same chorus progression from Promise, the original Promise theme, but transposed to a different key. It's called a reprise because a reprise is any musical idea that gets used again, essentially. You see it a lot in musicals where you've got like the initial version of a song and then the reprise version of that song, like in Jesus Christ Superstar you've got everything's all right, and then later when Mary Magdalene comes back later to like comfort Jesus, it's everything's all right reprise. Basically it just means like, hey, we're hearing this theme again. So we're using the Promise chord progression, which we associate with James, and then we're using the melody that we first hear during Forest, which is the music that plays during Angela's first scene, and I've come to associate with Angela, which is that theme. In that piece, it's in F minor with, and it goes. It's a little bit freer. That is also getting transposed to G minor. So we have James's chord progression and Angela's melody in a scene where the two of them are present. One thing that I want to bring up about the way that this piece sounds is when you see people do covers of the song, you will typically see them play it like they've split James's progression into the left hand and the melody into the right hand, like a pianist would do, and play it like this. But if you'll notice, that doesn't sound quite exactly like what we're about to hear. I have a theory that when Akira Yamaoka was writing the original Silent Hill 2 soundtrack, he only had so much like data he could use, like on a very literal level there was only so much he could put into the soundtrack, and maybe he had a small MIDI keyboard that he was using, and so instead of playing both those parts together like the way I just did, he records the James progression on its own, loops that, and then records the Angela progression separately. Or the Angela melody. So that we get this effect of. See, if I try to play those together at the same time, it doesn't quite work, but because Akira Yamaoka has, yes, he loops it. So, to drop another musical term, looping is a term used in music when you take something like a sample or a recording and you just have it play over and over again. So, like the samples we were talking about before in room 213 of Woodside, um, or a drum machine beat, rather than having to sit there for a full 3, 5 minutes, however long the song is, going. Akira Yamaoka can record it just that much that I played and then just play it over and over again. Thematic time loop. I see what you're saying, Cleo. Uh, I don't think it was necessarily intentional, but I do like that it gains that, like retroactively gains that potential meaning and resonance on a storytelling level. Um, like in music that utilizes samples, there's going to be a lot of looping. Drum machine stuff, there's also a lot of looping. So I think it's likely it's a happy accident that that ends up having a little bit of thematic resonance with the whole idea of the time loop that seems to be present here in the remake at the very least. Um, uh, but yeah, what was I talking about? I was talking about the two progressions. So yeah, Akira Yamaoka is able to record those two parts separately and then like pan them in the mix, like left and right, or like produce them in such a way where you're able to hear both parts distinctly, but they don't cancel each other out or overlap so much that it's, yeah, the way it's written, James and Angela's themes are literally on top of each other note wise, and so physically playing it, it's really cumbersome and doesn't have the same effect. But with music production, it works. Um, the other thing that I want to talk about on a compositional level with this particular chord progression is last time we were talking about diatonic and non-diatonic chords. We are in the key of G minor, and that means the notes that we typically use in this key, those are all the notes that are diatonic to this key. In this chord progression, we get a single non-diatonic note, that one. It is the raised sixth. If we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's what we would usually hear. We're adding this in, and this is more to what Amat was saying about, yeah, the way it's written. James and Angela's themes are literally on top of each other note-wise, which, yeah, may be a technology limitation, but it also feels very thematic. Angela and James are in the same place, but seeing different worlds, etc. That is such a good take, Amat, and I needed to interrupt myself to read it and relay it because that is great. But yeah, so talking about the chord progression, we've got, if I'm just playing these like block chords, I can kind of, we've got G, it's like a suggestion of G minor because we know we're in that key, but without the third it becomes a perfect fifth, which Cleo, you and I have talked a bit about that over the email chain. The thing that's nice about a perfect fifth without the third in the middle is it kind of leaves this ambiguous feeling of, oh, are we in a major key or a minor key? And until Angela's melody comes in, we don't know, really. We've got, that could be G major or G minor. It could be, or then we get this E flat 7 chord constructed off of the 6th scale degree. I know I'm throwing a lot of terminology at you, but at the end of the day, it all comes back to math. We're starting on the 6th note of the scale and creating this chord, major 7th, which gives it, is another chord that feels kind of ambiguous. And it's also using 2 notes from the previous chord, which gives it this kind of like suspended feel. And then we switch to, this is C major chord. Like this chord kind of suggested to us, okay, maybe we're in G minor. This doesn't feel like G minor. This feels like, oh, we're maybe perhaps in a major area, and then it goes to C minor, which brings us back into the minor area. Um, and this is a very common, this chord in a minor mode. Mode is another term for like scale, kind of. I'm being very reductive, but we only have so much time tonight, guys. um, but this chord, this major 4 chord, we can also refer to chords by the scale degree they're built on. So we've got our 1 chord because it starts on the G. We've got our 4 chord, which starts on the 4th scale degree. It's very common in like blues music and music that is kind of trying to convey a sense of mystery to have this major chord. So if we got G minor as our 1 chord and then C major as our 4 chord, minor 1 to minor 4 or to major 4 is, like I said, used in a lot of blues music. One true leader of worlds. Welcome to the chat. To clarify, every individual person in Silent Hill experiences it in their own way. So what James is seeing isn't what others would see for the most part. But that I think that's exactly what Amat was saying. Is that like musically, we're it's kind of conveying that idea of the two of them seeing different things at the same time. But yeah, to get back to the music, another place you hear this chord used, like these specific 2 chords, "Shine on You Crazy Diamond" by Pink Floyd. Most of that song is like the instrumental sections are based around to the C major. And it has this, like, I love that chord relationship. It's all over Pink Floyd's music. If we want to go to another song, breathe, breathe in the air. It's that same 1 to 4 relationship, minor 1 to major 4. And there's something about that just has that sense of mystery. Like, we're in a melancholy state, but there's something that lifts us out of it for a moment. There's so much to talk about, and I don't know. Like, it's tough for me to figure out what is most useful for you guys to hear, because there's so much I'm passionate about and excited about. But trying to connect it all together is not always my strong suit in the moment. But another piece that I was going to bring up as a reference point for, like, I really think that that chord relationship is like one that we use for mystery a lot. The VFD theme from the Lemony Snicket Series of Unfortunate Events movie uses, again, G minor. We've got that same sense of mystery that that major 4 in a minor key offers. And I used the term mode a few times. Oftentimes, composers will justify using a chord that's technically non-diatonic to the mode or key that they're working in by calling it mode mixture. Oh, well, we're borrowing a chord from G major, because if we were in G major, that C chord is completely justified, that C major chord. But since we're in G minor, how do we justify using this non-diatonic chord? Well, we call it mode mixture. And gotta hit him with the Mixolydian mode. Actually, if we want to be technical, we're kind of using the Dorian mode here, because we've got that raised 6 in the minor mode. But one last reference point I'll use. Another way that, like, on a musical level, we can justify things like that is through stepwise motion. I think I talked in an earlier video about how, like, steps are how we refer to, like, intervals and stuff. where each like that's a half step, that's a whole step. Like if you're looking at it on a guitar, uh, this is going like from one fret to the next fret over, and that's a half step. 2 frets would be a whole step. Another way that we can justify stuff that shouldn't necessarily work is through stepwise motion. And so in Promise Reprise, we essentially have this chord progression going. Those notes are both in G minor, and then we move up to this non-diatonic note, but because we move to it through stepwise motion, it almost makes it's almost fine, rather than if we were like going or, doesn't necessarily sound as good, but since we've got that, and then we go back to that for the C minor chord, and you'll probably have noticed another mystery theme that uses the same progression. Mystery, the major 4 chord. Okay, was there anything else I wanted to talk about with this theme? I've just been going on and on without even looking at my notes. So we talked about what's a reprise. It's a recurrence of a theme. Talked about modes and diatonic versus non-diatonic, the different stuff, stepwise motion, justify stuff, track layering. Context is everything in music. I think that's kind of been an ongoing theme of a lot of this stuff. But yeah, that is kind of a compositional thing I wanted to talk about with this piece, because it is... Oh, my notes are being displayed here. Because I feel like that major 4 chord is very mysterious in a minor mode, and it's being purposefully used here to start to move us in this realm of like, well, we started in very diatonic stuff with the original Promise theme. But now we're starting to move. The story is getting more layered and complex, and so we're starting to move into non-diatonic stuff in James's own story. James's theme is evolving and starting to become more complex as he learns. His story becomes more complex. He's starting to wonder, like, okay, where is Mary? What's going on here? What's going on with Angela? What is all this stuff going on with the Otherworld? And am I ever going to get out of here? And it's something that I want to bring up in a larger sense as we talk more and more about the music, is how as things get more complex and darker and more mysterious or complicated, the chord progressions we hear in like the major thematic music start to push into more non-diatonic areas as a way to kind of convey that on a subliminal level. Cleo, this may not make sense. Talking about justifying elements with stepwise movement. Is there a point where Akira Yamaoka wants that touch of this isn't quite right here, but he hides it in mode mixture? Yeah, that I think is essentially what I'm talking about, is like he's trying to convey that sense of like, oh, things are becoming not quite right, and so we're borrowing chords from other modes. Because like I was talking about before with Magdalene, the Magdalene theme, all the stuff in that first time we hear the Magdalene theme from the jukebox and on the radio there, and the stuff he adds with like the all of that stuff is very diatonic. But as time goes on, we start to add in non-diatonic stuff with Promise Reprise. things, yeah, as things become less right, we get that conveyed on a visual level through the Otherworld and all this other stuff, and on a musical level through mixing in stuff from other modes. One last thing I'll point out about this piece of music before we enter the room is that uh, in the original game, uh, as with like most stuff when you're writing it, most soundtrack work when you're writing it for a movie or a video game or whatever, you don't necessarily know how the director is going to use it. And particularly for video games, a lot of the time you need to write stuff that is easily loopable, another term that we talked about today, because you don't know how long someone's going to stay in a certain area or a scene's going to go, and so you just have it be repetitive. Like you come up with a piece of music and you make sure that it can be looped pretty easily, so that if the scene ends up being longer or shorter, where it can do that. One of the advantages they had with the remake is knowing a little bit more how long those scenes are going to be, or in some cases they might have just had a scene ready for Akira Yamaoka to record the music to. And so for this version of the piece, which is called Promise of the Forgotten on the new soundtrack, there are some added bits at the very beginning and end of the song that are decidedly like ambiguous. We don't have a tonal center. There are a lot of notes that don't sound like they make sense to each other, and it is kind of like, oh, that feeling of at the beginning of the scene, James enters the room, he sees Angela and is not sure what to make of the situation. And it isn't until he starts to get a handle on what's going on that we start to hear the chord progression and the leitmotif, the repeated part, give us a tonal center with the. And then at the end of the scene, as Angela's leaving the room and she and James are again on just completely different wavelengths, and things become more complicated again, the theme slows down, and then we hear some more like dissonance and stuff that has no tonal center, as a way to be like, oh, James and Angela were kind of starting to they were able to connect a little bit in certain ways, even if they're not seeing the same thing, and then stuff happens that forces them out of each other's world again, and we hear that represented in the music. So I know that was a lot of stuff to talk about, but I'm kind of glad I ended on that moment, because it kind of helps illustrate all the stuff I've been talking about non-diatonic versus diatonic, consonance versus dissonance. It's very purposeful the way that Akira Yamaoka uses the soundtrack to convey the subliminal story going on in these characters' minds of like, oh, I don't know what's going on here, there's no tonal center. Oh, I think I understand a little bit more what's going on here. Here's the theme entering. And then at the end of the scene, oh, something's going on here that I don't understand again. We've lost our tonal center. So yeah, now that we've talked about all that, let's get back into it and actually hear all the things that I've been talking about. And hopefully I did a decent job, and you're able to hear the things I'm talking about. If you want a more like literal, I might talk about the story side of the scene after, but Cleo does a really good deep dive on it on her video, so definitely check that out once she posts it. But here we go. So we don't have any chords, just notes.
Oh, it's you.
Yeah. I'm James.
Angela.
Angela.
They've made the connection with their names.
Okay.
The theme comes in.
Look, I'm not sure what you're planning, but there's always another way.
Really? What's the point? It's easier just to run. Maybe it's all we deserve.
We.
Me.
Strings
You.
enter as things get more
We're all
complicated,
the same.
I'm not like you.
more intense.
Are you afraid? Sorry.
It's okay. Did you find your mother?
No. Not yet.
Did she live here? In this building?
No.
So all you know is that she lived in this town?
What did you say? How did you know that?
Well, I just figured because this is where you're looking for her. How else would I know?
Yeah. Sorry. Did you find the person that you were looking for?
Not yet. Her name's Mary. She's my wife.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I don't know why I think she's here. She died 3 years ago.
She's dead?
Don't worry, I'm not crazy. At least I don't think so.
We have to find my mama.
Should I go with you? This town really is dangerous. Now, I know what you meant back there in the cemetery.
No, it's okay. Besides, I'd just slow you down.
What about that?
Will you hold it for me?
Sure. No problem.
That's where the music starts to slow.
If I kept it, I'm not sure what I might do.
Very dissonant notes
I'm sorry.
as the tension escalates in a way that is unexpected.
Please don't.
Lots of notes that are diatonic to G minor. Or one specific one. Okay. There at the end I wanted to point out a specific note. So we talked about how like you can kind of justify that note as being from the Dorian mode, which is just one note off from the regular G minor scale. At the end there, we get this thrown in those really atmospheric chords. Really quick, I'll switch back over to the piano demo screen so you can see what I'm doing on the piano. We got, so like I was saying before, the C major is kind of justifiable in the Dorian mode, but then we get that note, which is just off from this, and that is more characteristic of other scales, like stuff that is much further removed and have a lot more altered notes than the Dorian mode. But yeah, I just wanted to highlight that, but I will move us away from this knife now. Angela's knife, which contributes towards contributes towards the in water ending. And then we got our key here. Okay. So yeah, hopefully you were able to hear some of the stuff I was talking about before. Who we got on the wall here? There's a photo here. I wonder if that's meant to be a young Angela or something. I can't tell. A few more things I'll say about that piece because I could talk about it for hours. That to me is one of the most iconic pieces from the Silent Hill series, partly because of the way it was used in the movie. Now the movie has nothing to do with Silent Hill 2, despite the fact that it contains Pyramid Head, which a lot of people criticize it for, because Pyramid Head is a very James-centric monster. I kind of give it to the movie because, like, they didn't know if they were going to get to do any other Silent Hill games, Silent Hill adaptations, so might as well go swing for the fences and get Pyramid Head in there. But in the movie, they used a lot of tracks from various games, which I think was a very smart choice to maintain that aesthetic, not just visually, but on an RO level. What key did I just pick up? Key of Resilience, found in apartment 109, where I met Angela. And where do I need to bring that? Oh, probably somewhere down there. But yeah, in the movie, they use it in... And there's Pyramid Head walking around. In the movie, they use it anytime that something was revealed about Alessa. The double doors that I hate so much. Yeah, Cleo. Yeah, so if we'd come this way, we'd have to go the other way first anyway. And that's going to lead us to our first boss battle of the game. What was I saying? Yeah, Promise Reprise in the movie is used in a lot of really cool scenes that reveal something about Alessa and her story. And Jeff Dana writes some really cool additional orchestrations. Like in one section, as Rose, the main character of the movie, the stand-in for Harry Mason, is chasing an apparition of Alessa. There's just like cool cello stuff happening in the background. Oh, and here we've got Verse La Flamme. And a syringe, which will be good for us. I'm going to finish talking about the movie stuff first. But yeah, it's very cool in the movie, and I'm pretty sure it was used in like all the advertising for the movie too, like the trailer, but also like the TV spots. So for me, Promise Reprise has become very much like an iconic piece of Silent Hill's music, and is one that I often will just break out when there's a piano nearby, or if I'm waiting at band practice or something. It's a beautiful piece of music. I love that minor 1 to major 4 chord relationship, and so anything with that in it is probably going to grab me in some way. And yeah, it's very cool. Here's our next piece of sheet music, Verse La Flamme, I don't know how to pronounce things, by Alexander Scriabin. Cleo did some research on this, and basically, like, the name translates to the flame, or toward the flame. So you have suggestions of like a moth to a flame. Scriabin's original intent behind the piece was for it to, I think it said he was inspired by the concept of the heat death of the universe. And so it's a very like dissonant sounding piece. But yes, as Cleo brought up, it uses something that I think Scriabin himself might have dubbed the Mystic chord, or the Prometheus chord, which is built on fourths, and I think is like just very dissonant sounding chord. But fourths are also an inversion of fifths, and in some of the interpretations of the piece, they reference the circle of fifths that Scriabin had his own theories about. He had a bit of synesthesia, and so he made a version of the circle of fifths diagram where each key on it was associated with a different color. You know, wait, hold on. I meant to do this. So, forever together. He associated particular colors with different chords. The circle of fifths is a term in music theory that's used for it kind of provides an easy way to get from key to key and smooth out things like that. And just to really quick get into that, because it's 9 o'clock and we only got an hour to get through the rest of this and kill Pyramid Head. Not kill Pyramid Head, face Pyramid Head. No, we're not exiting the game. We're just doing stuff. We talked about scale degrees, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the circle of fifths is based on this idea of like, oh, closely related keys or chord progressions are a fifth apart. We've got C. If we go 5 notes up from it, we got G. 5 notes up from that is D. And then going in the other direction, C, F, B flat, if we're doing perfect fifths. And it's basically just a way to, again, justify certain ideas in music. Some common examples of it in popular music are like the chorus of Hello by Lionel Richie, like... So if we were to break that down in non-inverted ways, we've got D, G, C, F, and if we had more room down on my keyboard, it would get to B flat, and then it kind of loops around to E as a way to get back to A minor, A, which is the tonal center of it. But yeah, circle of fifths. Kind of theory behind it too is like if you keep going down or up in the circle of fifths, you will eventually get back to the key that you started on. So if like we start at C up here and go F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, F flat, and then we get to B, E, A, D, G, C. And we're back to C. And that's all just moving by perfect fifths. I think if that was part of the reason they wanted to use it in Silent Hill 2, it is likely they were thinking like, well, circle of fifths. How much of this game... controller disconnected. Stop it. Is about going in circles and cycles and going back to where we started. But also on a more basic level, I think Verse La Flamme, like Moth to Flame, might refer to James being drawn, James or the other characters being drawn to Silent Hill. Stop it with this controller disconnected bullshit. We gotta fight things. Yeah, and back around to where you started is essentially the level design Cleo's bringing up. But yeah, the fire and heat in the title and concept also, I think, suggests the place that Angela ends up at the end with the flames. There's just all this stuff that has to be happy accidents, but there's so much of it. Yeah, that's the thing about, like, when something is this well written, it just is fertile ground for happy accidents like that. You're able to justify so many things and find so many things that might not have been there before. Did I get... Yeah, I got the minute hand, and this whole thing has been us just trying to get back to the clock room so I can put the minute hand on it, which is behind me. Okay. We can do this. We're almost done. We've got the moth room next. Oh, another cool thing. These, like, mannequins draped in stuff. Pretty creepy, right? I'm going to put the minute hand into the clock, and then we're going to look at that again. Minute hand is here. We're going to save again. Now the M door to the moth room should be open. Come on, frame rate, please. Don't do this to me. I need you. I need you to help me out here. Okay. Save, please. Please save. There we go. Yes. Yes. Move over to yes. Come on. There we go. And now save. Okay. Game was saved. Let's go back. Hopefully the game will catch up. There we go. M room. That's right. That's where we're going. But there was something else that I was going to bring up. Oh yeah. When we go back outside... Oh, maybe it's not yet. But yeah, these things creep closer every time you solve something. I think this guy might have turned closer to the camera. Who knows? That's a cool little detail that I think a lot of people miss. So I need to get back to the M room. Okay, it's in this hallway. We can do this. Once we solve the M room, then it's just Pyramid Head. Chainsaw really helps out in terms of like streamlining things. Okay, so moth room and the butterfly room. In the what? Yes, yes, Cleo. Those covered mannequins in the hallway creep closer and closer to the grate over the course of this entire level. Fun little creepy detail. But yeah, this may be a reference to Silence of the Lambs. Would not put it past them, because as Cleo points out in her playthrough, it is, there's a Harris Street, so they are at least aware of Thomas Harris and the Hannibal series. In the original game, it was just a creepy room with that industrial noise sample that I showed off last time, and there was a hole in the wall that you had to stick your hand in. And now they've turned it into a big puzzle where you have to count the number of symbols on the wings to solve the whole puzzle. And the thing that they try to trick you with is the fact that back here we saw one of the moths, and you actually have to move this bookshelf, or whatever it is, armoire, because there's another wing hidden. Yeah, so we've got, I'm going to write this down just because I was, like, this is one of the few puzzles I felt like was an old school adventure game puzzle where it's just like, you're going to have to write some stuff down to get this. So we've got Death's Heads, and we've got the crescents, and then we've got the eyes on the wings. So here we've got 2 crescents and 1 death's head. And then if we go back to the rest of the room, there's any more stuff in here, right? No more stuff over there. Climb over this. Go back in here. Then looking at the moths in this room, we've got 2 eyes. 4 crescents. Another 2 eyes. And then 1 eye, a death's head, and 2 crescents. So we got, in total, 2 death's heads, 8 crescents, and 5 eyes. And we need those numbers for this lock here. So we got crescents minus eyes. That's going to be 8 minus 5, so that's a 3. Skulls plus eyes, that's 2 plus 5, so that's going to be 7. And then eyes minus skulls, that's going to be 5 minus 2, which is 3. And there we go. And boom goes the dynamite. And so this room pretty closely resembles the room from the original. Also, something to point out, we've got a bunch of moths or butterflies stuck to a board, and when I was watching Cleo's playthrough of this, I wondered, I wonder if this is another, I think it is, not exactly a direct reference, but it is a kind of tangential reference to Alessa, again, from the first game, where Alessa may have been disgusted by insects, which is why we have the creeper monster, but she seemed to like collecting butterflies because in the original Silent Hill and in Silent Hill 3, you visit a version of Alessa's bedroom where she has a cork board full of pinned butterflies like this. And butterflies and moths are often used in these first few games to represent cycles and like resurrection and reincarnation, which I think is kind of tangentially related to James's story in the sense of like the rebirth ending for Mary, but also Maria, if she's almost like a reincarnation of Mary. And then also like the time loop theory stuff of like, oh, you're playing another version of James. Green shit, nobody knows really what the green shit is supposed to be. In a early version of the game, there are 2 areas that have green. Well, in the game there are 2 areas that have this green stuff here, and then the one like drain in the hospital. And in earlier versions of the game, of the original game, that stuff was colored red, like blood. And some people think like, oh, they changed it green for censorship and stuff. It's like, there's so much blood in the game. I don't think it was censorship. I honestly think it was just maybe they were playtesting the game and people just weren't seeing the stuff that the drain or this hole in the wall, and realizing, oh, I need to go check that out. Maybe they just thought it was environmental stuff to give mood, and so maybe they changed it to green to make it stand out more as like, hey, come look at this. It's different than everything around you. And here we have another thrilling episode of James sticks his hands in places that he shouldn't. And this is where we're going to get the second hand. Gotta be festive. And we hear Pyramid Head again. It's like, I'm waiting for you. Okay, anything else I need to explore down here? I know the glimpse of the past is going to be in the stairwell once we solve the clock puzzle, so I'm not concerned about that, but I want to check my notes really quick. So, with Cleo's questions, we talked about the Otherworld, we talked about butterflies and stuff, but we didn't talk about fans. Let me look at other stuff first. Sticking hands into filthy places, moths and butterflies, the bird puzzle. So yeah, one last thing on the note of cycles and reincarnation. Stop it with the controller disconnected, please. Where am I going? I'm going to the stairwell. Okay. That's this way. Fans are used throughout the, or I'm on the right. I need to go back to the clock room. I'm on the right floor for that. Fans are used in a lot of Otherworld settings throughout the games to be another representation of cycles and reincarnation and stuff. And here's more signs that Pyramid Head has been in the area. Maybe he was waiting for you here, and then was like, you know what, James, you gotta come find me. But yeah, I'm trying to remember, Cleo, if you had any specific questions about like fans and how they relate to things. Amat, I am developing a very cynical interpretation of what Silent Hill is based on this apartment's aesthetic and the overall aesthetic of this Otherworld apartment complex, having so many elements of a cage or net. So yeah, about the cages and nets. Part of that comes from the painting of Pyramid Head that we'll see later in the Historical Society, where he's got a lot of those cages with bodies in them hanging up around the wall. And yeah, a lot of these cages are very similar to the ones in that painting. I think they're also, in this game specifically, meant to be a little bit... I think I might have even read somewhere. I was rereading Lost Memories stuff the other day, the official guide that Konami released about the first 3 games ages ago. And it might have been there, it might have been somewhere else, but the cages also, at least in the case of Mary, kind of convey this theme of imprisonment, where she feels caged to her hospital bed. And especially with the final boss in this game, you get that image of Mary / Maria in the hospital bed in a cage. And so I think that is partly where a lot of the cage and net imagery comes from. But yeah, then also Moth to the Flame. We're caught in the net of Silent Hill at this point. Cleo, well, it would involve Silent Hill 1 or 3 spoilers. There's literal reincarnation, right? Yeah, so, yeah, in Silent Hill 1, spoilers for the first game. Let's get this glimpse of the past real quick, because this is originally where you fought Pyramid Head in the original game. And he seemed to be doing unspeakable things to that lying figure, which, again, where... Like, the other scene, I can get where Masahiro Ito is coming from. I don't know any other way to interpret that animation in the original game, so I can understand why they didn't have it in this one. Yeah, so in Silent Hill 1, Alessa... There's a lot of themes of reincarnation because, like, first of all, after the burning ceremony, Alessa is able to somehow send off another part of herself, Cheryl, that becomes Harry Mason's adopted daughter. And then when they get back to Silent Hill, she is reunited with her original self, Alessa, and becomes essentially the final boss in the game. That appears differently depending on which ending you're getting. And then in Silent Hill 3, you play the grown-up version of that, well, if you get the good or good plus ending from the original Silent Hill, you will, the final boss will turn into this more angelic version, because initially it's, in the good and good plus ending, it's this, like, devil-looking thing. It turns into this, like, angelic version of Alessa, maybe, that, or just an angel-type creature that hands Harry a new baby. And, in Silent Hill 3, you play the grown-up version of that baby, Heather, an 18-year-old girl. I think she's 18 in that game. She might be 16. She's a teenager. And then in Silent Hill 3, they really explore this idea that, oh, Heather is this reincarnation of Alessa, or Cheryl. And it ties into all these themes of cycles and stuff. But yeah, these hanging cages are very evocative of the ones that you see in the, I think it's called Day of Final Judgment. It's something Day of Judgment, the painting that you see in the Historical Society. But yeah. And we're getting to Pyramid Head, like, before 9:30. We'll decide after Pyramid Head if we want to keep going until 10 o'clock, or if maybe we want to call it for the night. I actually think I might want to push it a little bit further, because the next video should be the one where we meet Maria, and I have so much stuff I want to talk about with her. The more I thought about the music side of things, Cleo, the deeper it got. You don't know how deep this rabbit hole goes. So I might try to get, like, Misty Day of Judgment. That's what the name of the painting is. Thank you, Cleo. But yeah, I might try to get as much done in this session as I can. Like, maybe get to just before Maria, so that we can fit as much of that stuff into the next stream as possible. But first, we've got Pyramid Head, and I don't think the chainsaw will really speed. Well, so we've heard when it comes to the Pyramid Head boss fight. Any of the boss fight, any of the boss fights with Pyramid Head, you never technically kill him. He is not a boss that is meant to be beaten. All you can really do is shorten the length of it by doing damage to him. And I think with this one in particular, it only lowers the, like, time on the clock if you hit him with melee stuff. So I think the chainsaw will definitely speed things up, but it's not going to, like, insta-kill him or anything. I'm going to tell you that section ends up being long. You may want to... Yeah, I think I am going to keep pushing so that we can get as close to Maria as possible tonight. So yeah, here's Pyramid Head disposing of another delusion, another distraction. Caught on the cage. Oh! Oh man. Yeah, that's not great. I need to, I may need to syringe that up. Come on, James, run. Okay. Dodge. 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 Okay, he's coming back this way. I'm gonna juke him out. I want to get, like, a swing at him from behind, but that's gonna be really tough. I gotta say, it may just be because I played it on easy, but when I played the original, the boss fights with Pyramid Head were not this tension-filled, so I am really happy with the fact that they, like, really pumped up and beefed up this boss fight and made it much more... Oh, man. There we go. Oh, man. Fuck. Yeah, that just took me down into the red again. We already got our halfway point, though, because we got the rain. This game is so fucking aesthetic. Yeah. A lot of the cage imagery... Oh, jeez. A lot of the cage imagery might also be because, again, that punishment vibe. James feels like he needs to be punished, so he's gonna see a lot of cages and bars and stuff. Okay. Oh! Oh, jeez. Okay. Dodge worked. Oh, and there's the siren. Oh, and frame rate just completely explodes on us for the cutscene. At least that didn't happen during the fight. Yeah, Pyramid Head. He's a scary guy. Yeah. I feel like the frame rate drops here because it's like loading the next area or something. The air raid siren is also just, again, another. It's such aesthetic, as they say in the online community. Okay, frame rate is back. Reason I wanted to do that was because we've got this beautiful aesthetic swinging lamp, and once again, this remake came out after Hades Town, so it probably isn't a reference to Hades Town, but it just makes me think of Hades Town, which I think I've mentioned before. Hades Town literally has an Otherworld transition. It's technically an Underworld transition when Orpheus descends from the surface world into the Underworld, but so much of the Underworld aesthetic in Hades Town reminds me of Silent Hill, the rusted metal, all that stuff. So, and then this swinging light reminds me of the "Wait for Me" scene in Hades Town, where it's just a beautifully staged scene where Orpheus is singing "Wait for me" as these huge industrial lights swing above. I'm like clutching a pillow over here. Same. I had a panic attack and exited the game the first time I tried to fight him. Wait, that is such fun synchronicity. Yeah, and like I've already talked before about how like there are like a lot of people refer to Silent Hill 2 as an Orpheus and Eurydice story. For a second I thought I saw something in the reflection there, but no. Alas. Okay. Let's keep going and see if we can get to Rosewater Park. Although this may actually be... Yeah, no, I think this is the part that gets us pretty... This is pretty linear, getting to Rosewater Park, isn't it? I want to try and do Null Moon, Heaven's Night, and the scene at the statue all in one video, because there's a lot of things I want to talk about musically that connect those three pieces together. But there is a lot of stuff that happens in the next section of the game. I'm trying to decide if I want... I don't think I want to do... stop it. Resume. I don't think I want to do the Maria scene until the beginning of the next video. Have to warn you, I don't even know where the save point after this is. Well, there should at least be an autosave. Oh, no, I know where the next save is. Because this, I think, leads us pretty linearly to Rosewater Park. Then there should be an autosave after you meet Maria. But then the next save, actual, like, red square save point should be... oh, I got both of the glimpses of the past. We're good. But we are in a new area, so let me just double check my checklist to see where the next stuff is. Okay. Just got through Blue Creek, so got glimpse of the past of the broken TV stand. Oh, I didn't get the How Time Flies photo, but I've already abandoned the photo quest. And Glimpse of the Past 8, we got that. South Vale West. And everything else in here happens after meeting Maria, I think. Item for the Bliss ending. Bloody Note. Yeah, all that stuff is after we meet Maria. Okay. Oh wait, I need to bring my chat back up so that I can see people saying things. So yeah, our next save, actual in-game save point after this is the motel, actually. If I'm not much mistaken. Yeah, I'll give you a syringe. You've earned it. This is the other side of the Woodside Apartments gate. Doesn't seem like there are any lying figures bopping and weaving in there anymore. Let's see. will do Null Moon tonight, because, yeah, the next section is very exploratory, leading up to the hospital, and the, you've got the scene, you got the scenes with Maria, and then also the scenes in the theater with Eddie and Laura. Well, no, like, you can't get to the motel without Maria, but, like, this... Oh, Laura! Oh, fuck! We gotta talk about Laura plays the piano. Not disconnected controller! Pay attention to this music so we can talk about it.
Hey. It was you, wasn't it? You're the one who stepped on my hand.
Maybe I did.
What's a little girl like you doing here anyway?
I don't know. What's a big dum-dum like you doing here anyway?
Hey, that's not very nice. Didn't your parents teach you any manners? What you got there?
None of your business. You didn't love Mary anyway.
What? Hey, wait! How do you know her name?
Hey, Acto, thanks for dropping in. So, to talk quickly about musical themes and their titles, there is a musical piece in this game called Theme of Laura that we hear as, like, it's one of the rock songs that we hear over the credits. It was over the, like, menu video thing that would happen in the original game, and we also hear a reprise of it during Angela's final scene. Despite it being called Theme of Laura, it is not really functionally Laura's theme. The piece that we just heard, Laura Plays the Piano, is Laura, the character's actual theme in this game. In the original, this is another theme that was only used in a single scene in the original game. I think it's when you meet her in the hotel and she, like, hits that, like, nasty chord on the piano to spook James. And so it was a little bit of a facetious, oh, Laura plays the piano. She had just random notes. But this, like the Magdalene theme, I think was extrapolated for the remake to turn it into more of a recurring musical theme for Laura as a character. And it's actually simplified quite a bit arrangement-wise, or at least it sounds less full than it did in the original, because the original had, like, these synth pads and stuff going on. But yeah, that theme, that... Oh, we're in C minor. Okay. That is that is essentially Laura's musical leitmotif. Have I used the term leitmotif on stream yet? Leitmotif is a German term for, yeah, basically a theme, a musical idea, a motif that recurs. Yeah, that is Laura's theme. And particularly on the soundtrack, like, I don't know if you ever hear this part in the game, maybe you do in the hotel, but there's a section that goes like, yeah. That, to me, if we're going with this idea that Laura, like, actually does play the piano, and there's stuff in the remake that suggests that more than the original, like, when we get to the hotel, there's a beautiful thing that I really want to point out, but I'll keep it a secret. But, like, when we saw Laura leave that apartment with the piano and Woodside, and with all the sheet music that's been left around, I started to wonder if, like, oh, maybe they're making the idea that Laura is actually, like, taking piano lessons as a child. Laura actually plays the piano. That's a part of her character. And that little line that I've just played for you felt very much to me like a classically themed little piano exercise. Just we're gonna go back and forth between these notes, and it's gonna like it sounds like something out of like a like Mozart, where it's like, oh, it can very easily turn into something more complicated, but on its face value sounds very simple. Which, uh, even as I say it, I can hear how that kind of is thematically significant on a storytelling level for Laura, where when you first meet her, she kind of comes off as just a brat, and then as with all the characters in this game, you start to learn more layers and more depth to her story. Um, but another part of her character is she likes drawing shit on walls. We saw some stuff that she drew. I don't think she drew that. Maybe. We saw some stuff that she drew back in Woodside, in that room that she ran out of, and this is some graffiti that was lovingly adapted from the original game that I think is implied to have been drawn by Laura. And in the Leave ending, I think you actually do see her like drawing other stuff on this wall. Oh man, I forgot that we might hit Laura plays the piano this stream, but basically, like, this is one of the reasons I love this game. Like, more than any of the other Silent Hill games, um, it really explores this idea. It really utilizes this musical idea of leitmotif, where each character seems to have their own theme, and it develops over the course of the game. And it's a like I have always loved leitmotif and thematic material in musical storytelling, from like musical theater to Lord of the Rings, where you get all the different themes for the different cultures and then different characters, or like groups of characters like the Fellowship and the Hobbits and stuff. And it's part of why I love this game so much, is that it is Silent Hill for me in a lot of ways is like the horror version of Lord of the Rings. Not in the sense that like on a storytelling, like the stories are similar in any sense of the phrase, but there are a lot of storytelling devices that feel similar or in conversation with each other. And particularly when I saw the Silent Hill movie, the aesthetic felt like it had such a strong aesthetic, which is something that I also associate with Lord of the Rings. So yeah, I think we're gonna get another merry death rattle breath as we walk down this tunnel. There it is, on the right speaker. Oh man, and I don't know if anyone's done any deep dives on the graffiti in here. I think a lot of the graffiti, maybe there's stuff there, but it's not necessarily as significant. It's just set dressing. Okay, we're doing good on time. There's a bunch of stuff to explore here in Rosewater, but we've got 20 minutes. We got through Blue Creek, and that was the main thing that I wanted to make sure we did tonight, so we can take a little bit more time here with exploring Rosewater Park. Got a syringe, another James jacket, maybe a different iteration of James left his jacket here and left the syringe. This is what we mean when we talk about environmental storytelling. Details in the environment that suggest certain story things. Notes that you find in the environment, I wouldn't consider environmental storytelling, because they're like written things that will literally tell you certain things. But any details that are like that jacket on the park bench, anything that suggests a story that isn't directly being told to you, those are examples to me of environmental storytelling. And this game And a lot of horror games, I think, are really good about that environmental storytelling. Although sometimes it's a little bit more on the nose than in other cases. Like a lot of Resident Evil stuff is like, oh, there's a lot of blood in this room. Someone got killed in it. Or a funny thing with Resident Evil is like you go into a room and it'll be just like fucked up, and then you find a note that talks about like, hey, so we thought, what if we combined this really dangerous chemical with this creature we found? I'm sure nothing could go wrong. Journal entry 2. Something went wrong. Nice little thing here. Got a little hat and then this brochure for tourism in Silent Hill. Welcome to Silent Hill, a quiet little lakeside resort town. We're happy to have you. There's no better place than here to let go of your busy schedules and finally enjoy a relaxing vacation. Rows of quaint, rustic houses mark a gorgeous mountain landscape, and as the dawn turns to dusk, the surface of Toluca Lake shines a whole range of dreamlike colors. Silent Hill will move you and fill your heart with peace. We're more than certain your time here will be pleasant and leave you with memories that will stay with you forever. Gotta say, our time in Silent Hill up until this point, maybe not quite as relaxing as this is suggesting. Oh, I forgot to look at... I've run past the graffiti and didn't see anything hugely interesting. Yeah, that's fair. Okay. Yeah, we've got the Pizza Bolorama ad here. Pizza Bolorama is a great place for everyone to spend and have an amazing time. We have a lot of food in our cafeteria, like pizza, burgers, and french fries with drinks. Local bowling clubs look new. Oh, looking for new members all the time. Happy hour at Neely's Bar every Friday, and that means half price for beer. Neely's have a wide range of top beers you have to check. Certainly memorable, yes. Right you are, Mott. Wonder if Roger Widmark is supposed to be referenced to anything. Silent Hill Historical Society, Earth Day at Toluca Lake, the story of yesterday. Boat trips. Famously, there was a boat that sank on Toluca Lake. Jackson, Beauty Rest, Radio TV. Whatever. It's never too late for quiet cocktails. And now I'm thinking, Cleo, if there is an autosave, it's probably after the scene with Maria, so I'm probably going to have to at least watch that. Which I don't mind, because... actually, I can check right now to see where it's got my autosaves. Load. Western South Vale. So yeah, we have a load on Western South... Oh, wait, that's the south... That's the load that we just had. So... Okay. I can always get us back up to Maria from that save. If it doesn't autosave where I expect it to. Or if we can't get to the next save. Okay. Yeah, Widmark doesn't jump out at me.
This is it.
This is it.
Mary, could you really be here?
I'm always interested to... I don't recall what I thought I was going to find when I got to Rosewater Park in the original game. I mean, I figured, okay, Mary's probably not here yet because we're only so far into the game. Music night, yes. Patrick Chester, son of Edward, he fought and died for the people, for liberty, and for all of our tomorrows. His memory lives on. If I'm not much mistaken, Patrick Chester is the, like... I don't want to spoil too much, but I'm pretty sure Patrick Chester has to do with the Born from a Wish scenario. Um, okay. We've got 15 minutes. We can watch this scene. Oh, that's a UFO sound trying to clue you in on, hey, you need to use the UFO gem here if you want to get the UFO ending. I didn't use it back in the first place. You need to use it, so I'm not going to bother. Interesting. Looks like two men in business suits shaking hands, and their heads are gone. I don't know if I ever checked that out on any of my other playthroughs. I don't know exactly what that's meant to convey. Would love to hear anybody's theories. Before we go down the pier, I want to make sure, explore everything I can. Oh, one thing I did want to point out. Oh, this, in memory of the 67 who died of illness and now sleep beneath the lake. I think this ends up being the answer for that one question in the quiz in the hotel, which I just guessed on my first playthrough and managed to get right. But yeah, that, I think it's a boat, because I said with illness. But yeah, there was a cruise ship out on Toluca Lake a while ago that, in the history of Silent Hill, I mean, that sank. And is actually the location that you go to in the Silent Hill arcade game that they made years back. That was a on-rails shooter like Time Crisis or any other arcade games. Now I want to highlight something here. Can't get through the gate. When you come back this way and Maria opens it, James has a moment of like, oh, I thought, never mind, which is a nice little detail. That, like, James isn't able to open it, but Maria is. Okay, let's do this. 10 minutes. We're gonna watch this scene, and we may end up watching it again next stream, like we did with the Pyramid Head scene. Just because I don't know if I'm gonna be able to say everything I want to about the music. You know what? I can get some of that out of the way before we watch the scene, though, because I can't imagine the scene is 10 minutes long. It's not. This music we're about to hear is Beneath the Null Moon, which is the remake version of a piece from the original called Null Moon. It is the first piece of music we hear. It's the first piece of music we hear associated with Maria, and it is a different thing than what we've heard up until this point. So maybe we should just get into it rather than talking too much about it beforehand. Is it Mary? Is it her?
Mary? No. You're not.
Do I look like your girlfriend?
No, my
We're getting funky.
late wife. I can't believe it. Your face, your voice. You could be.
My name is Maria. I don't look like a ghost, do I? See? Warm.
Sorry, I got confused.
Hey. Where are you going?
I need to find Mary.
Didn't you say she died?
Oh. Yeah, 3 years ago. It's just I got a letter from her.
A letter.
I know how it sounds. I'm not. I don't.
Hey, it's okay. So, what did the letter say?
She said she was waiting for me in our special place.
And that's here? Anyway, I haven't seen her.
Anyway.
Is this your only special place?
I don't know anymore. There was something. I can't quite.
Hey! I think I might know. I mean, there's this one place. Not far from here.
What kind of place?
The kind two lovers might call special. I can show you if you want. Unless you have somewhere else to be. Something else to do. Hey, easy there. I'm just messing with you. Come on. It's this way.
You're coming with me? Can't you just tell me where it is?
You're just gonna leave me here? Alone? With all these monsters around?
No, I just...
Is it because I remind you of her? You loved her, didn't you?
She's so gentle in the remake.
Didn't you?
All right, just... Come on.
So it's okay.
Yeah.
So we've got that piano bit in the back. There's so much I want to say about that scene on a musical level, on a storytelling level. I know there are a few... I can remember a few things that Cleo is planning on talking about. But, there's the autosave. Okay.
Come on, let's go.
Yeah, just give me a second. I gotta talk to the people about the music that we just heard. So the tone of that music is decidedly different than a lot of the music that we've heard up until this point. And there are a few different reasons for that. So we are in C minor. Hold on. Let me switch over to my piano view. I think tonight I might talk about the music side of things. And then next stream I might talk about the story side of things, because there's a bunch of different stuff I want to talk about with Maria in the remake. But while we're here, that is not my piano. That is... Okay, there we go. So we're in C minor. Or are we? Because you might have noticed that didn't sound as dour or dark as some of the music that we've heard up until this point. We were just talking about different modes and how Promise Reprise kind of mixes in stuff from the Dorian mode. That one chord, essentially, the major 4 chord. This piece, if C minor is typically what we just heard, doesn't have this note. That is the note that usually that sixth scale degree, the flat 6 in the minor mode, is often what gives this very melancholy, dark, or even epic feel to minor key stuff, like lot of Evanescence stuff uses that sort of chord progression. Hold on, I gotta up my octave. I haven't tried playing this in ages. Or if in C minor. But again, it's that very, that is a familiar sound to us, that very dark minor sixth. What we heard in Beneath the Middle Moon is the raised sixth, which, as we said before, is the Dorian mode. And how do we know it's in the Dorian mode? It's that little, so we've got the piano part, which I'm going to talk about the piano part, but it's using a lot of notes from like the C minor mode. A lot of those notes. But then we get this melody first on the cello and then in the vocal line where it goes. It outlines those notes, but significantly it uses that raised sixth from the Dorian mode, which I mentioned before. You hear it a lot in blues. You hear it a lot in music that's trying to convey some mystery. And here it becomes a texture for Maria as a character. You're going to hear in this piece, we're using the Dorian mode. In the next piece we hear with her, Heaven's Night, we also hear the Dorian mode. The piece after that, the one in the park with the statue, is notably not Dorian mode, but I have stuff to say about that too and why it might not be in the Dorian mode. But yeah. One last thing I'll say before we go off for the night. That piano ostinato is another musical term for repeated phrase that starts off the piece with like, it is a long phrase. Like it uses a lot of the same notes, but the repeat is over a long period. And one of the things I want to bring up about that specifically is it doesn't sound like the sort of piano line that you would just naturally play on the keyboard. It sounds more like a synthesizer sequence, but it's being played on piano. The reason I bring that up is because it is there when Maria appears. If all of the piano we've heard up until this point sounds more natural to a human's playing, now we have piano that sounds like it's played by something synthetic, something fake. And what sort of thematic resonance does that have with Maria? And then we bring in the drums and the bass and make it really funky, and we get the seduction, we get the facade, there's so many different things going on here. I might talk more about this next stream if people have questions about it, but it is 10 o'clock, and I don't want to keep people much longer. Thank you all so much for watching. Next stream is going to be 2 weeks from now, Wednesday, April 16th, same time, 7 o'clock Eastern Daylight Savings Time. I will be we'll be talking about Maria and exploring West South Vale, and hopefully we can get to the hospital by the end of that stream. Thank you all so much for hanging out. There was a lot of really cool stuff to talk about tonight. I really appreciate people talking back in the chat and stuff. I hope that you guys were able to get something out of it. I know there were a lot of like deep dives and music theory stuff, but I hope it was mostly you were mostly able to follow it. We're really getting into some exciting stuff, and I'm just really excited to dig even further into all of this, especially with Maria next stream. trying to think if there's anything else I want to bring up. My band, Mosaic Mind, we may be trying to stream in the future. I will make sure to post on social media if we're doing that. Blue Sky, Tumblr, all those places. But if you want to see and hear the band that I'm in, I will make sure to let you know if that is a possibility. And other than that, I will see you all in a couple weeks. Follow me on Tumblr and stuff to check stuff out and keep up with things. And have a good night. Take care of yourselves. Thanks again.